CNN FN, the financial network.
Well, up next, U.S. companies are moving quickly to make their computer systems 100% secure to guard against cyber terror attacks. Details when we return. Antivirus experts are fighting a new internet worm called Nimda, and it's already spreading aggressively across the globe. Some estimates even put the number of infected servers at 200,000. Even though the FBI says there's no link between the worm and last week's terrorist attacks, it comes just as companies are moving to guard against cyber terror attacks. Bill Malik is Vice President Research Director at Gartner, and he joins us now to tell us more. Bill, thanks for being with us. I would imagine you've probably been hearing from some of your clients about this worm. What are their concerns, and what do you know?
Well, what we know so far is that it appears to be a descendant of the code red worm that bothered a lot of our clients just over the last couple of months. It exploits a known vulnerability in widely distributed software, IIS, for instance, and propagates itself rather rapidly. And so it is
Bill, I just want to rewind a little bit because that might have gone over some of our viewers' heads. When we said known vulnerability, that's a flaw that we know that's already out there, and Microsoft, the maker of this vulnerable program, Internet Server, has published this. So
yes.
Does that mean the victims have no one to blame but themselves?
Well, the problem was recognized some time ago, and there is a fix available. In a sense, the victims of this, the individuals that are subjected to this, could have avoided it by keeping their systems patched. That's not as easy a task as it might seem. It means you have to regularly go to the website for Microsoft and for other vendors of those software products you use and make sure you're downloading the current and correct patches to keep these holes from being available for exploits like Nimda.
Now, we haven't seen a real nasty payload associated with this, other than the fact that it's been out there, it's been in some cases grabbing a lot of bandwidth, but it in general hasn't slowed major web performance down very much or anything like that. It doesn't seem to compromise security. So why all the fuss and bluster here?
Well, the concern is that when it takes over, it starts a lot of unnecessary work on the particular systems it's using, which can cause a real flood of traffic within an enterprise. See, on the more recent versions of the Microsoft Windows operating system, this code, this IIS code, is built in. And it's very difficult for most users to turn it off, and so they just leave it in even though they're probably never going to use it. Well, this virus, this worm, will attack and exploit those weaknesses and can cause a lot of trouble within a given enterprise.
Do you think this one will end up being more damaging than Code Red? I mean, that's what Attorney General John Ashcroft said yesterday.
Yes, it will. It seems to be much more rapid in terms of propagation. It's got additional capabilities to exploit other kinds of email programs. It's virulent. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to have a destructive payload. All it does is replicate itself. In a sense, it's kind of like the old Robert Morris worm back from the 80s.
In the good old days. Now, we learn something with every new worm, every new virus that gets out there. What do you think we're learning from Nimda?
Well, the first thing is that anybody who deploys a powerful machine has an obligation to be a good neighbor. Nice people don't connect weak computers to the internet. And by a weak computer, I mean a computer that doesn't have proper antivirus protection loaded, that doesn't have some sort of a firewall installed, and that isn't relatively current in terms of security patches. We have an obligation. It's kind of like the early days of the automobile experience in the United States. We didn't have licensing requirements for drivers. The rules of the road were primitive. We didn't have insurance guidelines. All of that's coming. I don't think we're going to see certification for home users of personal computers, but there are increasing concerns that there needs to be some kind of baseline standard for the integrity of these systems.
That is a fascinating topic that we're going to have to take up another time, but very interesting. Haven't heard that before. Bill Malik of Gartner, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.